That is what it is all about. That's what it should be right there. A simple, very simple dish. Beer braised beef shanks. I can't wait to dig in on that. Well, howdy folks, and welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. On this episode, we're going to be making some beer braised beef shanks. Now, if you've never had beef shanks, guys, you've really missed out. Let me explain to you something. Right now, across the nation, in some very, very fine restaurants, there is a very popular dish. It's called oxtails. And the reason it's popular is because that cut of meat has just a lot of gelatin in it. And that adds this most fabulous flavor to the meat when it's slow cooked. Now, here's the thing. The beef shank, very, very similar quality, has a lot of gelatin in it. Also, there's marrow to be extracted here, and that adds flavor to slow cooking. It adds very deep, complex tones to slow cooking, and it's fabulous. So what we're going to do is we're going to harness that flavor, and I'm going to show you how to create a few extra flavors when dealing with beef shanks. Don't be afraid of this. This is a fantastic dish for you to try, and once you've tasted it, I bet money that you're going to be back buying more beef shanks. So guys, let's head in the kitchen and get busy making up beer braised beef shanks. Come on in. There we are. Guys, beer braised beef shanks. Now let's take a look at all these goodies. First off, it's about the beef shank. Now the beef shank, let me get this close to this camera. You see that? Look at all the marbling in that. Now those streaks, that's natural on a beef shank. That's just a normal part of it. And if you'll notice, we have a lot of bone there, and there's some marrow involved there. Now also, I have some shallots here. I've got some pretty good sized shallots here. And I'm going to be taking these shallots, we're going to slice them up and throw them right down in there. No fancy slicing, just some rings of it. We're going to be putting some garlic in this one. All right, I'll probably be putting in there anywhere from 4 to 8 cloves of garlic. We're going to put salt, pepper in there. We're going to be using a little olive oil in the beginning as I start cooking these things up. I've got some Worcestershire sauce here. This is essential to this dish. It's very good. It adds an intense, sharp spike of acid and flavor that's fantastic. Also, of course, our beer. Now I'm using some home brew here. This is some of my own homemade goodie. And get a nice amber. It's a perfect way to start cooking this dish, is with an amber. If you want something more full body, go with a brown beer. And if you don't want alcohol at all anywhere near your diet, I understand. They do make non-alcoholic beers, guys. So guys, come over this way and let me show you how we get busy fixing fantastic flavor that's just going to blow everyone away. Now come on. This is a very simple dish to make. But whenever you're cooking, regardless of the simplicity of the dish, life gets a lot easier if you do some prep work before the cooking starts. Give them a gentle crush. There we go. Our garlic is ready to go in, and so are our shallots. Okay guys, I'm getting ready to sear off my beef shanks. Now something I need to say, if you're ever cooking pork chops or searing meat like this and it curls on you, it's because there is a band of fat on the outside of it. And that band of fat, what it does is it contracts in one direction. And if you want that to not happen, we'll simply cut that band of fat. And I want to do that in a couple of spots here. So what that does is it just reduces how that fat affects this process. Now, all right, guys, I'm pulling my last piece of meat out of this. Look at all the brown in the bottom of that, okay? Now, what am I going to do next? Well, this is where we deglaze the pan. So let me open up one of these goodies. Oh yeah. Oh, yes. So I have my beer in there, and I am deglazing the bottom of that pan. So what I've done here, guys, I've just developed this magnificent beefy flavor to go with that beer. Let's go ahead and get our meat in here again. Okay, so let's open up another one of these. And so you'll know I started with 4 pounds of beef here, guys. Okay, so that ended up being about 2.5 bottles of beer. Guys, about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, okay? And about the same on some black pepper, about 1/2 teaspoon. Next, our shallots. That's right, just right down in there, no particular order. Our garlic, same way. Now, how much of that Worcestershire sauce, guys? I want to say 1/3 to 1/2 of a cup. Right, so there we go. I have started my oven at 350 degrees, and as soon as this goes in it, I'm going to lower it to 250. Okay, guys, now let's get this down in our oven. Oh, yeah, right in there. There we go, guys. Now I've started that 350 degrees, and the reason I do that, that brings that liquid up in temperature real quick because the oven starts out a little hotter. This is one of those slow cook days where you just take life easy. I'll talk to you later. Now guys, take a look at this. These have been in the oven now for about 4 hours. They're pretty much coming apart. So go ahead and just pull all of your meat right out of your braising liquid. We're going to be using that braising liquid, and we're going to make a wonderful gravy with it. In a moment, I'm going to pour all of this liquid right down through a strainer. What's left in this, pour it through the strainer. Now it's time to turn this into gravy. The first thing I need to do is start a fire under this so I can bring it up to a boil. Okay guys, I have about 1/3 of a cup of flour here and my shaker. You can use just a regular mason jar for this also. I'm going to place my flour right down in here and cold water. Give it a good shake together. So I just poured in about half. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow that to come up in temperature and thicken. And that tells me if I need more or not. When it comes up in temperature, you will see it thicken quickly. You'll know it. Now, that's not when it's finished. It's not done once it's thickened. It's finished once you have cooked out that flour flavor. I have just tasted this and it is wonderful. I'm adding about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to add some more of that Worcestershire sauce. Not a lot, maybe about 1 tablespoon. There we go. All that is to give it a light spike in its acid content that will help those flavors that are already present to really jump out and be a little more up front. There we go. That is what it is all about. That's what it should be right there. A simple, very simple dish. Beer braised beef shanks. Well guys, there it is. Beer braised beef shanks. These things, oh man. You know, it's wonderful when you can take a simple, humble, delicious cut of meat. A beautiful thing there. Oh man. It's rich, complex, deep, beefy, full-bodied flavor. Oh man. And the perfect drink to pair to it. Guys, wait till you try it. It's so good, so tasty. And when you've tried these beef shanks cooked this way, you're like, oh wow, I didn't know it was going to be that good. You'll be surprised. Wait till you try it. Guys, thank you very much for watching Texas Cooking Today, for watching this episode. Thank you for my subscribers. Guys, I appreciate you more than you know. And if you haven't subscribed, folks, if you would, please do so. I would like to ask, if you would, please click the like button. That really helps me in the rankings a lot. And one last thing, guys. Just one last thing. If you would, please, just have a good day. Bye-bye.